Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm nervous. This is a 12 by 24 cradled wood board, and I really should be using my big spinner, and I have it out of the box just in case. But I'm using my extra large puppy pool. I've primed this with black Rust-Oleum paint primer spray paint. This is for a commission for a really nice customer, and I'm always nervous with commissions, so I'm going to talk you through it. But what I did, just in case you don't have a big spinner, is I put a little house paint on the edges of my regular cake spinner, and I kind of mashed it in, so as it dries it'll kind of hold on to it. And I hope you guys can see because you're kind of at a weird angle. Anyway, and I've lined my puppy pool with puppy pads so that I hopefully can not overly contaminate it and fold it back up, unlike my other puppy pool. Anyway, so this should act as like a little bit of a glue, so I should be able to spin pretty well without it falling off. However, I didn't put my big spinner in here because I had my tripod in here in the pool, and I just figured out that I could take it out and still see. So had I figured all that out before I did that, I might have put it together, and this is making me nervous, so maybe I am going to put it together. So I'll be back. I'm going to put my big spinner together because God forbid I get a perfect design and it goes flying off. And I'm going to use my big spinner from Jessica Winterstrom. So if you're not familiar with where to get them, I'll try to remember to put her info in the description box. So I'll be right back. All right, so here she is, the big kahuna. I have covered the wood with press and seal, and the handles are not covered, but they stay pretty clean. So this is cool because you can do this. And you can use this as a regular spinner. And there's also a shorter handle that's about half of this height, where if you just want to have a handle so you don't get so messy, because some people are real serious about not getting messy. I get messy. But anyway, it helps keep your board from flying off. It still is not a bad idea to put some paint on there. But you can also kind of align it with this part. So these oddly shaped ones are a little bit challenging sometimes. But anyway, you get the idea. Just for some extra insurance, I am going to put a little bit of paint down just because this is a little slippery with the painter's tape. So anyway, let me tell you about this painting. So this was a commission. This lovely customer bought a 12-inch negative space swipe that I did, and she wanted a rectangular one with the same colors. It's a copper Cell Activator, black base. So normally no biggie, right? Except for the fact that the painting that she bought, when I painted it, I never intended for the colors to be as muted as they were. It's almost like I swiped it wrong. So now I'm kind of nervous about trying to duplicate it because I never intended for the color to be that muted in the first place. So you know how that is when you're trying to do something differently than what you intended. So anyway, sorry about the weird angle. My phone is like in the perfect spot. If I touch it, it's gonna go crazy. So let me get some gloves on. I'm gonna show you the colors. Also, she wanted it in the same colors. Well, I'm using similar colors because the colors I had used in the past were from the Prism Pour like Generation 2 set. And they're still lovely colors, and I still have the paint, but I had some colors mixed up in kind of comparable colors already. So because the colors, ultimately, she wants me to duplicate what I've done before, so logically, those colors should be kind of muted. So I figured if I successfully kept the colors minimal, they could be similar and it would be fine. I forgot my swiper, so let me get that, be right back. And if you are also an artist, this is one of the reasons why it really is helpful when you video what you're doing, because then if someone wants something similar, you have a way to see how you made it, because just knowing the colors that you used is not going to be enough. How you laid it down, how much color you used, all of that stuff is going to matter. So I actually had to go back and watch the video because I think I made this painting in like 2021. So anyway, I mixed these colors a while ago, so unfortunately they probably settled a little bit. So the first color I'm going to use is from Colourarte. This is a Bling It color. This is called Luna. So Luna and Aurora are the two colors like this that I'm going to use. These have kind of an interference quality, only they're in kind of a grayish pearl base. So they're really cool. They look really muted by themselves, but when you get them mixed with other colors, they look really great, and they look great under resin. So if I remember, Luna and Aurora were kind of shimmering through the swipe. Let me show you Aurora. So Luna is sort of like a purple interference, pearl, whatever. And Aurora is more of a red. So if I recall correctly, they were shimmering kind of over the black base and under the Cell Activator, and they were probably just as dominant as the colors, but because they're kind of softer, you know, they have this kind of shimmery, subtle thing about them. So this is Aurora. So it's hard for you to see because my halogen lights are like right behind my phone right here. So that's the other one. We are also going to use a little bit of indigo or Indanthrene blue. And I mixed this up from Holbein's fluid acrylic. I can make this color a custom color from Vivid Intense, and I've done it before from Colourarte. I just already had some mixed up and I needed to just add to it. So I added a little of so this is the fluid acrylic, and I added a little golden anthraquinone indigo, same color essentially. And this is in the high flow, which is a lot more like an ink. Anyway, I just added that to darken it up. Same color, it's just, you know, I'm not going to use as much of my regular paint. Okay, and then this, I'm using, what is this? This is Splendor in the Grass, which is a little bit more yellow than the original. The original green was Envy, but this is not going to show a whole lot, so I had Splendor in the Grass mixed up. I'm not great about using greens a whole lot, so I was like, okay, I think I can make this work. So this is Splendor in the Grass. It's very sparkly. I have no space right here. And then Waterfalls was the other blue color. So instead of Waterfalls, I'm using True Blue. So let me mix it and I'll show you. And again, these colors will need to stay kind of calm. They can't be too crazy looking. So, all right, so there's True Blue, really nice blue color. And instead of Heartthrob, I'm using Poinsettia, which is a prism pour color. It's a nice pinky red. So there's that. And I know these colors, you're probably thinking, none of these go together. And instead of Heartthrob, which is kind of like a blue violet, I'm using, I think this is Amethyst Queen, which is a primary element. And I think that's what this is, yeah. Because I had this mixed and I had a whole tub of it, and the colors are similar enough to use what we have. So this is a gorgeous color. And then we're going to drizzle a little bit of Cypress from Holbein, which is a lovely green. And we may actually be able to use this up, maybe not entirely, but this is a lovely green. And this was in the original painting. We may drizzle a little bit of Payne's Gray. The only thing that worries me about that is this is Payne's Gray from Colourarte, which is gorgeous, but if I recall correctly, this was mixed in something that was too glossy, and when I was using it, I was getting wobbly cells. So I have it here, but I may not use it, and it needs to be thinned out a little bit, so we may have plenty of color, but I'll show you just in case I go rogue, because Payne's Gray does look quite delightful under copper. So with the copper Cell Activator, the idea is going to be that I'm going to put the black base down, which I'll probably do. I'll probably pause you because that's pretty boring. And I'm going to probably come semi-diagonal like this, so that when we spin, we have composition instead of straight across. I try to avoid straight across. So I'm nervous, but no time like the present. I have my coffee here. I'm going to pause you. I'm going to put the pillow paint down because we're already 12 minutes in, and I'll be back. All right, so I'm using Colorplace Black Onyx and Satin. Color to Go Tricorn Black would also work great. It's a little thinner, which is not always a bad thing. So I used quite a bit of paint, and so what I did, and I did it off camera, is I sort of, why is this looking crazy all of a sudden? So I sort of coated, sorry, when I went around here, for some reason it change the position of my puppy pool. So I sort of coated the top of the canvas pretty well, and then I just grabbed my gloved hand and grabbed some of the excess paint and coated the sides. And it's not because I don't have enough paint, because I probably have more than enough paint, but I want it to be able to easily go off without getting stuck and messing up the composition. So that's the logic behind that. And I'm already making a mess. So let me get going, get another wipey. And so I wrote down the order that I actually laid things down in initially. I have some ugly bubbles in here. I'm gonna try to tilt this so it's best view for you guys. However, for some reason, after I laid that down, my puppy pool moved, so that's weird. And half of it's drooping off the table, so super annoying. All right, so I'm going to lay down the Luna first. And I'm super nervous. Okay, it's just paint. We don't have to be afraid of paint. So I think what I'm gonna do is come from here. And then wipe that off. And then the indigo blue. I kind of feel like I don't have enough color right here, but I have to remember I have a lot of colors to add. So the indigo blue, I'm gonna control what I put down a little bit more. I say that and then I didn't do a good job of that. This color is so dark that if it comes through, it's gonna help give us good cell structure, but it's not gonna be like crazy popping color like some of the other colors might be. So if I'm gonna be a little heavier handed, it should be with this color. I mixed this one a little thin though, so that makes me a little nervous. But you have a little bit more wiggle room with swipes. Okay. All right, the next up is the Splendor in the Grass. I'm exceptionally nervous about this one. And the paint on the side of the cup is trying to cause globbies in my paint. How rude. My little tweezers don't even pinch anymore. They have so much paint stuck on them. All right. This one makes me a smidge more nervous because it is kind of a yellowish green. There is a better propensity for it to make mud. So I'm just trying to be sparing, and I'm also trying to be mindful of my negative space. This is hard when you can't really reach what you're doing. Now I can spin it toward me, but that's probably what I should do. Should not trust my ability to not spill paint. So let me do that. Oof. Whatever I did to the puppy pool when I was messing with this painting is gonna be challenging. All right, I'm gonna, no, I don't want all that green there. It's okay, that's probably gonna spin off. All right, waterfall, so we're gonna do the true blue. And do you guys like these bigger paintings? I mean, I always love big paintings, but I'm such a chicken about wasting paint. So do you guys like videos where people do bigger paintings so that you don't have to waste paint yourself? Sorry, I'm very focused. Okay, now I need to spin this guy around. I already feel like we have a little bit too much color. Okay, let's see. This one's a little thick. That's probably enough. All right. I'm normally quite heavy-handed with paint, so it's hard for me to be minimalistic on purpose. So now we're gonna do the poinsettia. Now I think the poinsettia and the blue, like the indigo blue and the purple, have the best potential to blend nicely with the other colors without being crazy looking. And sorry, my dog's in here making her presence known. All right, there's that. Okay. Now we're gonna take a sip of coffee. And we're gonna do the Amethyst Queen, which actually was supposed to be the last one. The poinsettia was supposed to be on top of that, but I'm sure it's okay. Amethyst Queen, This one will be a little more subtle than like the bright green and the bright blue, but it'll be a nice pop of color. All right. All right, the Cell Activator I'm using today is going to be Atelier Copper with Australian Floetrol. So while I'm drizzling, I'll tell you, you don't want to forget the description box below. I've got lovely discounts under there. Tutorial videos for bloom mixing, yada, yada, yada. 20% off Colourarte using Mandy1120, 10% off Australian Floetrol from Pixel Paint Designs using Mandy 10 in all caps. Now we're going to do the Aurora. I don't remember if I did Aurora next to or on top of. So I think I'm going to come in like this for the Aurora. Anyway, I also have discounts for KS Resin. I've got my Amazon storefront. I think I've got this and a smaller size puppy pool on my Amazon shop. If I don't, I should add this because this is the nice one for the big spinner. So I keep this one folded up. The other one doesn't fold anymore because it's got so much stuff in it. I think I have too much color down here, you guys. Okay. We're gonna drizzle Cypress. Which I guess we're kind of drizzling everything, right? Throw this over here. Cypress is really a cool color. It's very expensive, but it's a very cool color. It's sort of like cobalt turquoise and cobalt teal had a baby and made a really beautiful green. I don't think I'm going to do the Payne's gray because I'm nervous about it causing squigglies. And I just think I have so much color already. All right, so I'm loading my palette knife, but before I do that, I kind of want to get an idea of where I want to swipe. Because sometimes if I don't, I go in and do crazy things. So here's the knife. So I just put some copper Cell Activator on there. Spread it around a little bit. So now we're just gonna swoosh it around a little bit. You can't see what I did in the top corner because I'm out of frame. All right, so this is a little heavy in the middle, but it's gonna spread out. I'm tempted to keep messing with that, and it's going to mess up the composition, so I'm not going to. And there's a lot more color than I think she's looking for, so nervous. Sorry if you can hear my dog drinking. I think I used a little too much Cell Activator on that one. So, yikes, I'm about to drop the whole thing. So ideally you want to cover your spatula generously, but you don't want to flood it like crazily. So if you have so much that it's just dripping off the sides, you might have too much. All right. I'm actually gonna swipe over this part. I don't like that. But this is gonna spread out, so I wanted there to be some composition that wasn't so liney. So now we're gonna see what we see. The middle's obviously gonna have huge cells. I don't love huge cells, but that kind of comes with the territory. Let me get a white bead, clean my spatula, and yikes. I had to pause you guys for a second because my husband came out and I didn't want him to not be able to talk. So I'm gonna get, I don't have a skewer out here. Lovely, hold on, because I might need to clean some of this up. All right, what you probably can't see, how the heck is this doing this? This puppy pool is like moving further off the thing. What you probably can't see is this right here, where I didn't do an excellent job. So this is probably going to spin off, but on the off chance that it doesn't, I'm just gonna skewer it All right, and the stuff in the middle, like I kind of want to mess with it. This is going to spin off, so I probably won't worry about that. Kind of want to mess with this. Some of my Cell Activator is fuzzy from where I blew into it a little bit, and I'm getting some wonky cells. So what I think I might do is take a smaller palette knife, and I'm really nervous about that though. Maybe take a really small one like this one and just kind of dip it into my Cell Activator and add some like negative space cells. Just like right here. And the beauty of that is if I don't like it, I can cover it up with black paint. But if I like it, or if it adds some character to the composition, then, you know, like this is screwy looking right here. Where did my wipey go? Oh, I'm a mess. Like normally Atelier has really firm cells, and there's some places here that are just not like that around these edges. So that's where I'm like, should we come in? Stop it. Should we come in and go like this? You know, for some character. Because I don't know why this is so fuzzy looking. It shouldn't be. I don't normally have that with Atelier. So I'm gonna mess with it just a little bit more. And let's see. That may not be great, but I think I can make this work. You little turkey. All right, stop messing with me. All right, dude. All right, I think that all this paint in the middle is why I'm having some wonky cells. The paint's trying to sink, so I don't know if I like the middle well enough the way it is, but I feel like I'm losing my ability to do something cool with it because it's sinking into all of this paint. So I'm trying to kind of move quickly. Okay. I didn't really mean to wreck that right there. It kind of looks like a weird snake. This part is just very coppery. So maybe that's what she wants, but just trying to make sure that there's enough interest here so it's not super, you know, rattlesnakey. Because this is going to get huge. All right, let's just give it a spin. I feel like my board is moving this way. Maybe that's in my head. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's not centered. Oh, I wish you guys could tell me what to do. It's moving too much. This is going to scrunch up my weird big cells, but I feel like it's going to maximize kind of the good parts. If I wasn't so concerned with trying to keep the composition similar, I think I would have used a black and copper Cell Activator so that we would have had that nice pop of kind of black color. To add some like crisp lines. So, but like I said, it's always difficult because you don't want to mess up what somebody has in mind. And also, because this is black base, I have to remember that this is going to dry darker. And some of the places that are bothering me will look different. Okay. This is spinning very well, and I'm getting what I was looking for down here. I'm just not getting it here. So I'm really torn. Do I come in with like a reverse palette knife and come over this and come maybe here? I like it here, and I like it here. I don't like it here. And the difficulty is we're kind of losing time to make that decision. I think I just got paint in my mouth because the black paint dries faster sometimes. So if I'm going to do it, I have to do it while I have enough paint in the middle to mess with the composition. So I'm really torn because I think I've also got too much color in the middle. So, you know, normally swipes are my thing. I don't really struggle too much with them. And it's gonna look funky if I swipe this and then all of a sudden take a turn. So I'm gonna have to be strategic about it. So here's where we're gonna run into, is it totally dumb to consider changing it at this point because I've got half a pint or quart of paint on here. The worst case scenario, I would have to go again, and I would probably pick it up my Cell Activator, and I would probably add black. But best case scenario, we get a better, you know, most of what the one she got was this kind of muted right here. It wasn't this kind of bold, and so I'm nervous about it being this bold. So I'm thinking if I were to come in and do this, like, you know, or even with my big paddle, I have a big paddle. If I were to come in with this guy and I were to go like this, how bad could it be? It could be really bad, I guess. So I'm gonna try it, and y'all are gonna either win or lose with me. I think using too much Cell Activator in the center made a big difference because we have these cells that don't have a lot of structure, and you can't just leave them sitting like that for a long time. So this is where the bloom technique can be kind of challenging, right? Like, it's like you want to have enough Cell Activator, you don't want to have too much. When you have too much, you run the risk of it swimming while you're messing with your composition. And now I really don't want to have too much because it's going to float into the other side. So this time I'm going to like scoop off the excess. And I'm going to use, I don't know how I'm going to have all those colors represented there. So I'm going to drizzle a little bit of the Cypress. So this is my, I can't really show you without dripping. So this is my Cell Activator. I'm going to drizzle a little Cypress. So the Cell Activator is going to go down first because that's what we want on last, right? Ooh, I popped a bubble and it landed over there. How funny. And I'm going to put a little of the indigo down next, which might be dumb because I think I've mixed that a little too thin, so that might mess things up. And then I'm going to put a tiny bit of this Splendor in the Grass because I really don't want it to show off too much. I think I'm going to skip the other blue. I'm going to do the Aurora, which is a little thick, to be honest. Whee, I'm making such a mess. So I'm doing the Aurora, the Poinsettia, and I'm just drizzling these colors just to make sure that there's some representation of them. It may be actually making things worse because it may bring a ton of color in. So now I'm doing the Amethyst Queen, and then I'm going to do Luna on the bottom. I'm going to skip the True Blue or whatever color that was because we just have too many colors. And I'm going to do the Luna. And I'm dripping. And the other factor is now I have to be a little bit cognizant of how I put it on because everything else is in the negative space, right? So I actually might be able to do this in one fell swoop. Ooh, I'm so nervous. So I have the most room I'm dripping and I'm so nervous about it. Okay. I have the most room to come in right here and go oh, that was nerve-wracking, but I actually did pretty good. Yay me. Okay, let me clean this off. And this is a little bit more muted so far. I'm gonna have to do some skewering, and I'm probably gonna have to tilt my design a little bit this way so that this isn't so massively different, but I kind of like that it's different. Sometimes happy accidents, right? Like Bob Ross says. All right, I am covered and just covered in paint, you know? And I'm getting it on the counter, and that's just the best we can do with our life right now. Okay, that was scary, you guys. Now here, this, I don't like this, so all right. Still don't like this. That's okay, we can fix that. I think. Just turning it into like a ribbon, you know? Who knows? Who knows if it's gonna work? Okay, I'm gonna spin this guy around. I like what's happening here. So, I like that we have these cute little cells that stayed. Kind of looks like we wrecked it on purpose. All right. Kind of want some of this to go this way. That's not going to happen that easily, apparently. And this guy, this actually worked really well and might have saved this painting. Now, I hope she likes it, because it's more important that she like it than I like it. But like this here is much more muted, much less crazy looking. You can still see the colors without being like, oh my gosh, what's going on there, you know? Oops, I didn't mean to do that. That was too much skewering. It's okay, we'll let that gather and we'll come back to it. So all I'm doing is taking the thicker part and breaking up some things that are really strange. I normally do most detail with the thinner part of the skewer. But just like where we didn't get a good swipe coverage, that's kind of what I'm messing with here. And adding a little character. So this right here, this is very wispy looking right now. What I did here kind of screwed everything up, but I think it's okay. All right, so this needs to come off, but let's, so I've got pretty shallow paint here. So we're just kind of making delicate edges here. We don't have a lot of room to spin off here. Most of the weight of the paint seems to be in the middle. So I'm gonna pick it up very carefully and I'm gonna rock it just a little bit. Can you guys still see? I'm just gonna rock some of the weight of the paint. I don't really want to do too much of that because my cells are gonna get wonky, but I've got to get some of this paint off, and it's shallow in some places and not in others. And I've still got kind of a funky corner. And this funky corner may just stay funky because the more I tilt, the worse my cells are going to be structure-wise, because the weight of the paint is kind of here and there and everywhere. So I may just need to spin it. So the other thing is we've got, let me show you what I'm about to do. We've got this one part over here that's funky, where I didn't swipe very well in the first place. So what I just took the bottom part of my skewer, or the heavier part, and I dipped it into some pillow paint that's in my puppy pool, and I covered up that weird spot. And now I'm just going to skewer this so it looks like we want it to do that. Same thing with this right here. I can even come in and do something funky like this, so it looks like it's a line of separation. I'm not too worried about it because it's gonna dry a little darker right there, but I just wanted it to look like it made sense. All right, now we gotta try to spin because there's still too much paint on here. And I don't want to be too aggressive because I don't want it to go flying. But unfortunately, this paint is a little too thick. It's not moving the way it should. Whew. So when you mess with larger spinners, you just need to know, like, if you're used to your paint just flying off, they're different. It's just not going to fly off the same way that you might be accustomed to. It is moving and it is expanding, and you can probably see that better than I can because it's on video for you. But there's like still a lot of paint right here. And we may have to just move some of that with a popsicle stick because I don't want to lose all the composition. But this composition is much more like what I had in mind. So you guys will have to let me know what you think. What in the heck is this? There's like a globby in my paint. I'm still a little shaky on this part. I kind of want it to, I kind of want this to connect with this somehow. That might be enough, just so it's not as noticeable that I did that. But again, this is one of those things that I'll obsess over and no one will ever know but me. So, but I'm really happy that we did this because I think this would have been way too colorful if we hadn't. So the middle is much more calm now, like the first one. And the paint is coming off because you can probably see it's getting all over the puppy pool. So we are getting paint off. It's coming off the sides. So slowly but surely it's expanding and it has widened, and now it looks kind of like a beautiful little copper river. And on a black background, copper, especially with any kind of an interference color, is just beautiful. And it does seem like we're getting some of the paint off. So we're gonna give it another couple spins. I'll bring you down for a close-up. This is expanded nicely. We have nice composition. Thank you, Lord, I was so nervous. So we have nice composition here with a little bit of a twist. It's not easy to tell that I had to doctor that. So what's real crazy is there's a lot of paint right here, like a lot. So I know this might make some of you guys nervous, but look at this. There's so much paint that I can like, and part of the problem is it's already starting to dry. So where I can see that we have issues, I'm just gonna help it. It's gonna be resined anyway. You know what I mean? And this is the lovely part of like why I took my gloved hand and I did the sides, because now I'm not urgently trying to cover the sides, and we've got plenty of paint for the sides. They're covered. And so yes, did I waste some house paint? Probably so, but you don't have to sacrifice composition to get where you need to be. And now I'm pretty happy with where we are composition wise. Still have this weird part here. This is such a long video. Anyway, I'm gonna spin it one or two more times and then I'll bring you down for a close-up because I think much more than this, and we're gonna not have what we wanted. And we've already lost most of our bendy part here, so I think I'm actually gonna stop and just really hope that it dries nicely, because I don't want to lose composition. So now this is kind of what it looks like. We've got a nice ribbon of color. We still have tempted to mess with this, but I think I'm just being nitpicky, you know? So we still have a lot of color here, but it's not as like in your face as it was when we first poured it. We have nice small cells here instead of the big crazy ones in the middle. I don't like big crazy cells. I realize you can't always avoid that, but the palette knife, the reverse palette knife, was definitely more favorable in giving us nice tight little cells. So hopefully the customer likes it. So I'm going to bring you down so you can see, and thank you for hanging out. Long video, so appreciate that. So I'll be back. All right, so here it is. I really like the composition. I think it would look really nice on the wall. I mean, it looks very abstract, which is cool. We've got this section down here with all that nice color. Some of this will dry more muted because the black is darker, and some of these colors will dry darker. This here is a lot more like what was in the first painting, just to give you some perspective. And so I think this is probably a little bit more of what she's looking for. So I think that we have a nice blend here. But look at these colors, the ones I told you are like kind of interference-y in a pearl. Like all of that right there and right here is that color, Aurora or Luna. So under resin, these really, really pop. So you can see I was starting to get wonky cells right here. So good thing we kind of stopped. I love the little pillow cells here, the ghost cells. And up here at the corner, we almost completely lost that little swivelly thingy. So let me know what you think. Was this worth the long video? It's so long. Anyway, thanks for watching, and hopefully my customer likes it. Bye.